Alright guys, so moving right along to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Bill McLaughlin, who asked me to do another hero-villain mashup, and this one's going to be a little more different. This one's going to be a bit of a hard one to explain. Yep, as you can see, the Owl House, from of course the Owl House, and Kriea from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So this is going to be a little more difficult one because, well, how do I put this? Yeah, it's a little OP. It's a little OP, but if you guys would like to send me a Patreon request, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. You guys can hit the 4th tier, and you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But anyway, let's get started with this other hero-villain mashup. The other one I did, actually, I realized this as I was just about to hit. I was like, wait, I already did one hero-villain mashup Patreon request, and that was the Moon Knight Ra's al Ghul one. So I was like, alright, I guess I can do both of these, but these are Patreon exclusive videos now, so never heard. It's not only a Patreon request, it's also like free publicity for what you can see on my Patreon. But anyway, let's get started with this Patreon request. So this one, it was initially supposed to be the Sith Triumvirate, which was Kriea, Revan, and Malak, but I was like, there is no way I could do this. There was no way I could have done all three. And Bill was like, you can just do Kriea. And I was like, cool, I'll just do Kriea. And yeah, Kriea, while she is more powerful, there's a lot more moral complexity with this character. And I also can understand why Bill asked me to focus mostly on Kriea in this video. Because, well, yeah. Kriea is basically Ida. Like, Ida is basically the Kriea of Disney, in a way. This morally gray being who's like a teacher as much as she is a morally gray person who uses their magic, or in Kria's case, the Force, and also has very unique learning, very unique lessons for their student. So that's how I kind of see it. And Kriea, in of herself, was a Sith Lord, but also like saw the potential of what Revan could be. So that is a pretty it's a pretty neat dichotomy, and I think like it would be a lot of fun to see how that would Kriea would play with that in terms of this meeting, because I think Kriea would be kind of interested. She'd be very curious in Luz. She'd be very curious in what Luz is capable of, in what Luz can do, and just that kind of untapped potential. Because she'd be like, I have seen this kind of level of potential in one of my students before, and they basically were like, they had the same kind of power surging through them like as you do, child. So I could definitely see that Kriea would like to tempt Luz over to her side. Like, I could definitely see her trying to bring Luz to her. Whereas Ida would be like, no, you're not taking my student/foster daughter. And I don't know who would win in that fight, because the problem is that that's another video in of itself. But I do see that Kriea would like to, be like a dark teacher to Luz. Like, kind of like this person who would just show up and be like, kind of like, I guess you could say like maybe how Chase Young would show up and teach Omi in Xiaolin Showdown all these techniques and kind of try to bend them to their way, so they'd be more closer to when they're ready to corrupt them. Then they'd be like more open to it. You know what I'm saying? So and I'm sure there's probably a better anime comparison that I'm forgetting, but the one that comes to mind of how I could see this is like when Chase Young was trying to corrupt Omi. That's how I kind of see Kriea looking at Luz and trying to corrupt her and trying to bring her over to her side, because I think she would see Luz's potential and be like, the Owl Lady is really just suppressing you. Like that whole thing of, this magic is powerful and you know how to use it without being connected to it. you can harness that power through these glyphs, but you're not, you know, the Owl Lady is kind of like suppressing that power. I can show you what it can really do in the right hands. I can give you all sorts of new styles and new abilities if you'll just join me. But I think that would be also the thing, is that Kriea would just like randomly show up and be like, so, how was teaching today? She didn't teach you a lot, huh? Well, perhaps I can be of assistance. And here, she would... So, yeah, it'd be like a slow corruption of the innocence between Kriea and Luz, where it would just be, you know, Luz thinking that Kriea is just another person like Ida, unknowingly that Kriea would be trying to manipulate her or trying to use try to use her in her tool as a weapon against Malik and the rest of the Jedi. That's how I really see all of this going, because in an all-out fight, yeah, Kriea smokes all of them. Really, like, it's not even a fucking contest. Let alone if you brought in Revan into this whole thing, too. Then it's a real massacre. So, thankfully, Bill was nice enough to be like, just focus on Kriea for this one. Like, that's enough. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think it would be like if Kriea was a enemy of the Owl House? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'd like to thank Bill McLaughlin for sending me this Patreon request. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.